Good morning. And it is morning. This is another tow truck Confucius moment. The word for today is respect. I know. And respect is a tiny word, and yet the spectrum of respect is broad. I'm going to explain that to you. So, respect. Now, we know what this page is about. It's about cars and those kinds of things. That's what I want to talk about. So I made my page about everything that I like automotive, and not necessarily anything I don't dislike about it, but just if I want to discuss it, I'll do that here. So let me turn this off. It's loud. So I've gave the respect thing some thoughts. I've gave it a lot of thought. So I'll explain it from my perspective. Now, everybody ain't gonna see it that way. That's your choice. You know, it's kind of like opinions. We know where that goes. So, respectfully, whatever car you're driving, whatever you choose to do with your money, that is your choice, and it is your vision. So, I respect that. I might not be into it. There's a lot of stuff I'm not into, but I can recognize the ingenuity that went into it. I can also recognize if you put a lot of thought into it, of how you wanted your project to turn out, or you know, you had some kind of vision, I can respect that. I'm not a person that's into foreign cars. I mean, I think some of them are overpriced. But at some point, they become affordable in the market. But the modifying part is more expensive. Now, I'm not a tuner. I don't own a BMW. I don't own a Mercedes. I don't own a Lexus or any of those products. But just because I don't own them doesn't mean I don't know. Now, that being said, I did in fact have a stint where I liked European cars. But I had some friends who that's what they liked. Now, I like all kinds of cars. And so it wasn't outside of my realm to like Volkswagens or BMWs or those kinds of things. Now granted, this was pre-1991, you know, Volkswagen and BMW and Porsche and those types of things. You actually had European Car Magazine, and I subscribed to it because the friend I had, he owned Volkswagens, and I really liked him. And we're not talking about Beetles. He had like a bad Jetta. I mean, it was bad. Jetta GLI was lowered. He put some rims on it. He done some stuff to the motor. But he had a little bit of money. And all his friends had money. I met up with these guys. They had a shop down the street. And one of them, his parents owned a repair shop for uh, foreign cars. You know, he owned a BMW, but he'd be driving a Porsche, or those kinds of things. He just did, and I think he took me to school one time. Give me a ride to school. That was a little weird. Cause he come down the road and he saw me standing out there waiting on a bus. I was still in high school. These guys were all in their 20s. And he's like, "Hey man, you want to ride to school?" I'm like, "Yeah." His car was bad. It was bad. It was lowered, had fat tires on it. He had money. His parents had money, so his car was just perfect. It was set up perfect. Aside from those things, I respect the ideas. The whole stance thing, some of it looks pretty cool. I personally wouldn't do that to my car, but there is a certain stance that every car has. That's what it's called. Now, granted, they call stancing their car where they lower it and the wheels came around a little bit, and I'm like, hey, some of them look all right. I'm not privy to doing anything or even owning a car that looks that way, but some of it looks pretty cool, and it's neat to look at it. But I'm not into it. Respect and kudos to them for even making the effort of driving a car that doesn't look like everybody else's. I mean, it's kind of hard and it's kind of not. I mean, you pick a platform and you put some wheels on it, you lower it, you do some stuff to the suspension, you do whatever you do to it and make it your own. I mean, but the respect is there. I know I have said, not necessarily on here, but just in general, me and some people I know or some of the other car guys are talking, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not into that. I don't see the purpose of it, of certain things. But it's not about what I see. It's about what they see. I know what I see when I look at a car, but I don't really like the front wheel drive platform. So that's not an option for me. Now, granted, these young people, that's what they're giving them. Everything is front wheel drive. It's 4-cylinder, turbocharged, some of it, and make a big deal out of it. And everything looks good on paper. It does. Oh, it's inline 4 with twin turbos. Ooh, that sounds. How much power is it making? Oh, it makes 200. Okay. I mean, it don't sound like a lot, but in actuality, if the car's not very heavy, it's going to be pretty peppy. It's going to be a peppy ride. And so, yeah, they do a little work to it and, maybe throw a couple bucks at it and make it their own. And it's gonna be something. It is. And that's, at the end of the day, it's yours. It's your car. You put the money in it. You put the time in it. You saw something in it nobody else saw, decided to come up with this idea and make it a reality. So that's what happened. You throwed your money at it, and there's probably gonna be some people that have the similar car and are gonna go, I didn't have that idea. That's a good idea. And that's where most copycatting comes from. Everybody likes it. Same thing with wheels. Somebody sees some wheels on a car. Let's say a guy chose them, and they're a fairly good-looking wheel. It's obtainable. Some of those wheels, they're $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $10,000 a set, whatever they are. For the average working person, no, they're not paying $10,000 for a set of wheels. Now, you know, if those wheels are obtainable and you like the way they look, you're probably going to want to go try to cop a set and put them on your car because you like the way they look on his car. And see, that's how a lot of that works. Now, granted, when you're limited to wheels, you know, lugs, 4-lug or whatever, you know, then you up your lugs to 5-lug or, you know, whatever. You're going to go to whatever you're driving, whatever the lug pattern is, you're limited to the wheels that will fit that car. But nobody wants to have the same wheels that somebody else got. Now, granted, in the Mustang world, you know, and in the muscle car world, you know, a lot of that's few and far between unless you're going to buy a custom set. Custom set, for some of us, is probably going to be like buying another car. You know, $6,000 to $8,000, custom made, custom offsets, staggered, this, that, and the other, you know. So, but in the end, it's all about respect. I'm going to give you your kudos. I'm going to be like, hey, you know what? That's pretty badass. You know? To keep the hobby going, even if you're not into it. It's the idea that they put forth the effort into that car and didn't just drive it the way it is. There's plenty of that going on. I mean, people just, hey, it serves its purpose. Okay. Just leave it the way it is, huh? Put no wheels on it, don't lower it. You know, eventually, if you're any kind of car person, that's going to get boring. I'm just saying. It's going to get boring, and you're going to be like, you know what? Either you're going to want to buy something different, or you're going to do something to it. You know, you try to add new sparks to it. So you're like, yeah, it's kind of boring. Maybe I ought to put some wheels on it. Maybe I ought to put a spoiler on it. Maybe I ought to put an aero kit on it. Maybe I ought to change the seats. Put stereo, make a bigger stereo in it. Maybe I ought to put a different hood on it. Maybe go some carbon fiber accents, you know. Something to differentiate it from the car everybody else is driving. The same thing. I think what my problem is that these car companies are trying to suck people in. Some of them, not all of them, because some of them just aren't concerned with their performance variant, whatever that is. Some of it is just flashy paint and a interesting looking set of wheels. Maybe a spoiler on the back. It's not really, it's just not really, I mean, if you're just the type of person that's all it takes, a little flashy paint, some wheels, and some funky looking badges on it to make it, you know, yeah, that's pretty lame. I don't think a whole lot of thought went into that. But they're doing it, and people are buying it. You know, real, true performance, it costs money. It is not cheap. It just isn't. But hey, respectfully, you know. So I just want to let the whole car community know that, you know, I respect what you build, whatever it is. I might not be into it. I have a certain kind of taste. My taste is old, so I tend to like vintage iron. Now granted, even the cars that I drive or have in my driveway are old by new car standards. Everything I've got is obsolete. And as far as putting Coyote motors and all that stuff in it, you know, that's great if you like that. But I don't really care for computer controlled things. I don't care for it. And as much as some of it is very cool looking and it's powerful and it's fast and that kind of thing, it sounds a certain way. There's a sound that an old car has, or even an engine you build, that a new car just doesn't have. And you know what? They have engineers and people who go in there when they come up with this car and they put all this different exhaust on it to try to get it to sound a certain way or to sound desirable. I mean, get a panel of people and say, how does that sound to you? Do you like the way that sounds? How about we give you 3 different sounds and you pick the one that sounds the best to you? Well, in the end, you're going to pick the one that sounds the best to you. That might not be everybody. You know by riding around town and listening to people's cars, you're like, yeah, I don't too much care the way that sounds, but he does. He likes the way that sounds. I guess it's all about choice. But also remember that, you know what? It's their money. They can do as they please. Whether they want to put an LS motor in something or that is not brand specific. And let's be realistic. Hot rodding was never about being brand specific. It's about taking what you got and making it work in something else. Just whatever you got laying around. You got an Oldsmobile engine, you got a Ford. Now let's be realistic. Those cars were so old, it probably really didn't matter what kind of engine you ran, as long as the car ran. And it was just a bunch of parts thrown together anyway. Well, we've kind of streamlined that as the years have gone, so hot rodding has gone a little different. And then you got some people I think have gotten lazy and they let the factory do it for you. Remember the moniker they used for pro stock racing? Factory hot rods. 500 cubic inch engine in it. That's not a factory hot rod. I don't know of anything that's got a 500 cubic inch engine except when they made Cadillacs. Cadillacs had 500 cubic inch engines. Those were factory cars. They were luxury cars. And that 500 cubic inch engine only made like 200 horsepower, but it was still 500 cubic inches. Aside from that, it's all about respect. I mean, it is what it is. You throw your money at whatever you got. If you got an EcoBoost Mustang, if you got a EcoBoost or Echo, whatever the heck it is, Camaro with the 4-cylinder in it, that's what you got. You respect across the board, because at the end of the day, you're the one driving it. You're the one paying for it. Respect to you. Respect to y'all, whatever you're driving. The idea is just get out there and make it yours. Respect for that, of course. That's the thought for today. So, whatever you're driving, whether it be a Volkswagen or Audi, or Mercedes, or Mustang, or Camaro, or Corvette, even a Hyundai. I mean, I know, a Hyundai. Yeah, I've picked up a few. I'm not into that, but they making an effort. That's all I can say. Flashy paint and some wheels and I don't know. But hey, that's not a car that somebody built. It's a factory car. But somebody liked it and they paid for it. I mean, I personally like to build my stuff. I like things a certain way. And I don't think the factory can build it the way I like it. They come close to making it enticing. But that doesn't mean that that's the end, that I'm just going to buy that and that's the end all be all. You know, this is it. Oh, I got a I got a Dodge Demon 170. This is it. Yeah, I still think they left some stuff out. Same thing with any car, Mustang, Camaro, Trans Am, whatever. I bought it. Now I'm gonna change some stuff. That's what we do, right? On that note, you all keep it between the ditches, and I'll catch you all later.